Come, come. Sit down, Ashish. Please sit there.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Are you relaxed now?
Yes, sir.
You look to be a little tense.
I just got here, sir.
Okay, good. Ashish, introduce yourself.
Sir, my name is Ashish. I was born in Patna and completed my schooling there only. After that, I joined IIT BHU Varanasi and completed my mechanical engineering in 2017. I worked for 3 years at City Corp in Pune and I resigned in September 2020 and since then I have been preparing for civil services.
But your examination center you took Bangalore?
Yes, sir.
Why?
So when I left my job, I went at my sister's place. She and my brother-in-law lived there. But then she asked me to stay there throughout the whole preparation, so I stayed.
And you are not working in Bangalore?
No, sir.
No. Okay. What are your hobbies?
Sir, I like watching football and reading and writing poetry.
Okay. Mr. Singh.
Okay, Ashish,
Yes, sir.
you live in Patna
Yes, sir.
and you live in a place called Kumrar.
Yes, sir.
Why is it called Kumrar?
I don't know, sir, why it is called Kumrar.
Anything to do with its ancient
Yes, sir.
culture?
The Mauryan Empire's relics have been found there. Remains of a palace have been found in Kumrar that are preserved there.
Have you seen it?
I have seen it when I was a little kid. I used to go to the park there, but I don't remember exactly, sir.
So what did you see there?
Sir, there were polished pillars. That's all I remember.
Okay. So, can Patna
Yes, sir.
regain the glory of Patliputra?
Certainly, sir. Yes, I hope so. I believe so, sir.
You believe so?
Yes,
How? Tell me.
Sir, it has to pursue a path of development, overall development, and it has to have a short, medium, and long-term plan to oversee this development. In many aspects, from education to health to industrialization, in all these respects, if we pursue and together with...
Okay, you
Yes,
just briefly tell us, what are the key challenges for development in Bihar?
Yes, sir. So the lack of infrastructure was a key reason, key issue which has plagued Patna for a long time. But in the last few years, there have been developments in that regard. The lack of higher education, quality higher education institutes is also a major issue, and also in terms of urban infrastructure, there is a lot of encroachment there, due to which there are many problems for citizens living there.
Next, brief.
Sir, the health infrastructure is also quite poor in Patna. Only 1 or 2 good government hospitals and.
Okay, next.
Sir, there is a lack of quality jobs there, especially in the field of especially in industries and services.
Okay, now let me move to another area. You like foreign affairs?
Yes, sir. I liked reading about it during preparation.
So, which country has border with Bihar?
Sir, Nepal has border.
Nepal. Recently, the Prime Minister of Nepal was in India.
Yes, sir.
You are aware?
Yes, sir.
What is his name?
Sir, I remember the surname Deuba. I am.
Sher Bahadur Deuba.
Sorry, sir.
So, you tell us, what was the key benefit of that visit?
Yes, sir. In the past few years, it has been seen that there have been some frictions in the relationship between India and Nepal, and there was a border dispute also. So after he has come here, we have resumed a train or bus service from Bihar to Nepal, and also the heads of our states have talked. So I think there are promises for the future.
So, this bus and train service, or only train service?
Only train service.
From where to where?
Sir, it's from Janakpur to Jayanagar to Kurtha, I think.
And where is Jayanagar?
Sir, it is Janakpur to Kurtha. I think I am forgetting.
Okay.
This.
So, a lot of people say that India behaves like a big brother
Yes, sir.
with Nepal.
Yes, sir.
What is your opinion?
There have been tendencies in the past, but I don't see India's behavior like a big brother from the time I've started reading about the foreign affairs, sir. India gives ample scope to Nepal to
Let's
pursue its
say
policies on its own.
blockading of the border,
Yes, sir.
cutting off oil supplies when they are totally depending on us.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that problematic?
They might seem so, sir, but I think diplomacy is important to manage our situations at certain points, and these are the steps that nudge the other country to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ashish,
Yes, sir.
you keep yourself in touch with the current affairs?
Yes, sir.
Okay, tell me, AFSPA was in the news
Yes, sir.
recently. Why?
Sir, it has been repealed from some parts of 3 states in the northeast.
Repealed?
No, sir, not repealed. It has been.
What would be the word you would use?
I'm sorry, sir. It was the wrong word.
Okay. But why was it called a draconian act?
So there are certain provisions in the act that give a free hand to the army without certain accountability and checks on it. So,
What sort of free hand?
sir, there are provisions for search and seizure and arrest without warrants, and it can fire on people even on minor suspicions, and these are the things I am aware of, sir.
Okay. Now, new education policy.
Yes.
What are the main features as far as higher education is concerned?
Yes, sir. So we plan to the national education policy plans to increase the gross enrollment ratio to 50% in higher education by 2035, and also it wants to bring all the institutions apart from medical and law under one umbrella organization, which will regulate their workings, and there are provisions for easy changing of discipline, and there is a system for credit exchange. If I'm not sure, sir, about the term exactly.
Okay. Right. Now let's move to a different subject.
Yes, sir.
India has recently signed a trade agreement with Australia.
Yes, sir.
And some days back, one with Dubai also, UAE.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Now, why is India on a signing spree like this? Agreements, and is it consistent with our policy of being Atmanirbhar?
Yes, sir. I think it is consistent in our idea of Atmanirbhar, because we want to increase our exports that we are building inside, producing inside India as well. So,
But also imports will come easily. We are removing custom duty.
yes, sir. Certainly, there will be imports, sir. But in some regards, the imports from those countries will.
No, but if cheap imports come from outside,
Yes, sir.
how will our industry compete with that? If we are getting cheap goods from outside, our industry will never be able to make.
Yes, sir. I think that even if we get cheap imports from foreign countries, it will nudge our industries to improve their qualities and reduce their costs. So,
No, but that is what you say.
Yes.
But do you know the problems in Indian industry? The cost of power,
yes,
the cost of capital,
yes, sir.
cost of logistics.
Yes,
This
sir.
is too much.
Yes, sir.
Can Indian industry compete with, let us say, a country like Australia?
Sir, all the items have not been, all the custom duty for all the items that we will be importing.
90% is gone, my dear.
Yes, sir. But we are also.
90% of the items have been freed.
Yes, sir. Certainly, sir. But we are building highways, we are constructing roads, we are.
Okay, logistics. But
Sir.
what about ports? What about airports? What
we are-
about power? What about cost of capital?
Yes, sir. These are issues that we are working on, and it will take time, sir. But these things will happen.
We are signing agreements today. Can we wait indefinitely?
No, sir. But I believe that we'll take the jump
Okay.
in
We'll discuss.
quicker time, sir.
We will discuss this.
Yes, sir.
Now let's move to a different topic. PLI schemes of the government. Are
Yes.
you aware?
Yes, sir. Some of it, yes, sir.
Please tell me the features.
Sir, production linked incentive scheme, and it is based on providing incentives to industries to companies on incremental production and sales of goods in successive years.
That's all.
And
Is there any investment required?
yes, sir, there are investment requirements, but I am aware of only the automobile sector, sir, in this regard.
Okay, tell me the automobile problems.
Sir, I think for availing benefits for entire vehicle sales, the investment should be 2,000 crore rupees in next 5 years, and for component manufacturers, it should be 500 crore investment in the next 5 years, sir.
This is the investment limit.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and incremental sales?
I'm not aware of the exact provisions.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, sir.
Aradhana.
So Ashish,
Yes, ma'am.
I noticed that you do not write your surname.
No, ma'am.
Why?
Ma'am, my parents gave me this name, and I am okay with it. I didn't question it a lot, but I have asked my parents now about it, and
I didn't ask that.
Yes.
I asked, why do you not write your surname? Your first name is fine,
Yes, ma'am.
but like your Gmail ID has your surname,
Yes, ma'am.
and your father has a surname.
Yes,
But you have not written a surname. Why is that?
Yes, ma'am. My parents did not give me a surname actually.
Parents did not give me a surname.
Yes,
But you've written Sharma in your Gmail.
yes, ma'am. That is my grandfather's surname, and I like the surname. And there are some difficulties that I face when enrolling, and for that purpose, I sometimes use the title Sharma.
What difficulties you face in enrolling?
Like for booking airline tickets, there is a compulsory option for writing last name. So there I have to use Ashish, Ashish.
So Sharma is actually the caste name, right?
Yes.
You don't believe in caste?
Caste is a reality, ma'am, but
You don't believe in it, or you believe in it?
I certainly don't practice it on a day-to-day basis, ma'am.
It's very remarkable in a state like Bihar,
Yes, ma'am.
where caste politics governs.
Yes, ma'am.
So don't you think that you lose out because you don't have an identity?
Ma'am, I think I have an identity that is broader than my caste identity, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Do you know when the mention of caste first came?
I am aware of the history, ma'am. I think it was taken from a Portuguese word casta.
No. Mention of caste known as Varnas. When did they first come in our literature, mythology, whenever?
Ma'am, Varna has been mentioned in Vedas,
Which Veda?
Rig Veda, I think.
Do you know the dating of the Rig Veda? Any idea?
It was written in the earlier Vedic period, that was from 1500 BC to 1000 BC.
Okay, very good. All right. You have studied in BHU, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Who founded the city of Banaras or Kashi? Who is said to have founded it?
Bhagwan Shiv has founded.
Excellent. And do you find it's a divine city or it's a dirty, filthy city?
I find it as a divine city, ma'am.
When you go to Gadholia, you have to put your hand out and push the traffic from the gadi. No, that's all nice.
Yes, ma'am. Those were practical difficulties, but that has been resolved in the past 1 or 2 years by widening the roads in Gadholia, I think.
Okay. So this is one of the Jyotirlinga. Do you know what a Jyotirlinga is?
I am not aware of the details, ma'am.
Okay, doesn't matter. So you are a mechanical engineer, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
So what do you think, what are your views on electric vehicles? There's a lot of talk, should they be there, should they not be there?
Yes,
What is
ma'am.
the advantage, viability, etc.?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I certainly do think that e-vehicles are needed in current climate, but that is not a panacea because it has certain practical limitations that we have still not solved.
What are the practical limitations?
Yes, ma'am. For example, e-vehicles have mostly been talked about in terms of passenger vehicles, but most of our fuel is burnt in trucks and buses and in trucks. But electric vehicles in the size of trucks have not been built properly right now.
But there can be a beginning somewhere. I mean, you don't have to begin everywhere. You can have a beginning
Yes, ma'am.
somewhere.
Certainly, ma'am.
So they should be there.
Yes,
huh?
ma'am.
And
They
how
should be
the vehicle will be a small vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's largely for urban?
Yes, ma'am.
So what about the roads? What will happen to the congestion on the roads? So I mean, or shall I put it differently? Do you think there should be more smaller vehicles on the roads, or do you think there will be fewer bigger vehicles on the roads?
Ma'am, bigger vehicles do pose certain problems in the traffic scenario. Overall, I think personal vehicles, the usage of personal vehicles can be reduced, and public transport can be promoted in this regard to solve the congestion issue.
How do you promote it?
By educating people, ma'am, by nudging them by telling them about climate change, the issues of climate change.
No, how do you promote it? The buses never run on time, they're overcrowded, they drive at breakneck speed where you think you fear for your life, though why should anybody want to go for it? Then in times of COVID, nobody wants to go in a huger vehicle for fear of infection. So how do you handle all these?
Ma'am, these are certainly practical solutions, and these are not easy questions to answer, ma'am. But I think if we put our mind into it and look deeply into how certain other countries that have worked it out, maybe we can figure it out.
How has Sweden done it?
I'm not aware of it, ma'am.
The Prime Minister walks to office.
Yes, ma'am.
He got shot in the process also,
Yes, ma'am.
but he
Yes,
walks
ma'am.
to office.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, I'll put you in a hypothetical situation.
Yes, ma'am.
Supposing you were district magistrate of Katihar,
Yes, ma'am.
and I've purposely chosen Katihar,
Yes, ma'am.
and it had a very high incidence of polio.
Yes, ma'am.
Incidentally, do you know the difference between incidence and prevalence of a disease?
Sorry, ma'am.
Okay. It had a very high incidence, means new cases. Prevalence means the statistics as on date.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, very high incidence of polio. How would you tackle it?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, I'll consult with the people in the health department first of all to see where we are going wrong, and I will take
You're from Bihar, you expected to know something about it. So, given the problems, you say these are the problems, this is how I address them.
Yes, ma'am. Maybe one of the bigger problems might be the lack of immunization in this regard.
So, how would you go about it?
Ma'am, maybe the ASHA workers can be mobilized further, and more people in the...
They're already doing it. Only ASHA workers, school teachers, this one, that one, because it's an oral vaccine.
Yes, ma'am.
Not for the injectable one, oral, they're all doing it. So,
Yes, ma'am. Maybe there
are times when there rains, the river overflows, right?
Yes,
Katihar has that problem.
Yes,
How would you do it? How can they go?
Ma'am, there might be some hesitancy in the minds of people that certainly we can nudge the mothers to proceed with immunization when the ASHA workers and other workers come to their houses for immunization.
But there are all kinds of rumors floating that all kinds of things are mixed in it, and it will lead to sterilization, this, that, all kinds of things. How do you handle that?
Yes, ma'am. Certainly, it will need a wider network of community participation in this regard. We see that in Bongaigaon in Assam, the district magistrate used a system of buddies to solve the issue of malnutrition to some regard.
So who will be the buddies in this case? Who will you select as buddies if you are trying to try to motivate resistant communities
Yes, ma'am.
to take the vaccine?
Yes, ma'am. There might be resistant communities, but I think we can find people in those communities as well that have immunized their children, and then we can use them, persuade them to act as buddies in this.
Okay, all right. So one is vaccination.
Yes.
Two more things.
Ma'am, we can better the health infrastructure overall in that regard.
Overnight, as DM, you can improve the health infrastructure.
No, ma'am, but we can start with the primary health care centers.
What about it?
Ma'am, there are issues of the hospital workers not working there, actually serving at private centers.
So how would you do it? You are an engineer.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, constant monitoring is required in this regard at ground level.
Okay. And what else?
Ma'am, these are the two I can think of
All
right
right,
now.
fair
Sorry.
enough. Now, what is Madhubani art?
Ma'am, Madhubani, I am aware of Madhubani painting where...
Yes. What
yes,
is so
ma'am.
unique about it?
One thing unique I know about it is that the entire canvas is painted, there are no empty spaces generally in that, and religious and social lives are painted in that Madhubani painting.
Okay. 2 more questions.
Yes, ma'am.
LIC is going in for an IPO.
Yes, ma'am.
What is an IPO?
IPO stands for initial public offering, where the
And what is an FPO?
follow-on public offering.
Okay. So should what is the size of it, by the way?
Ma'am, I'm not
Okay, never
able
mind.
to recollect the details.
Should LIC stock be disinvested or should it not be disinvested?
I support this disinvestment in this regard, ma'am, because I think proper due diligence must have been done to come at this decision, and private investment and private participation in companies we have history of we have data of private companies participating in when they participate in the governance of public companies, they have improved the profitability of public companies.
So give one example where 5% equity has gone to the private sector. It's not private sector, by the way. It will be, it's 5% is offered to everybody, including retail, you and me.
Yes, ma'am.
So give me one example.
Ma'am, Maruti, if I may, if I'm remembering correctly, ma'am, Maruti was an example which when the private investors came, they improved their.
No, what private investor are you talking about? This is a public offering on the stock market, where there will be thousands of investors.
Yes, ma'am.
This is not privatization. This is not a single large person coming and buying it.
Yes, ma'am.
Though government has increased the size of the holding a little bit,
Yes, ma'am.
but these are all minority shareholders.
Yes, ma'am. I think I need to read further on this to
Never
come
mind.
at the
It was
conclusion.
very technical. Last,
Thank you.
to your mind, what have been the failures and successes of handling the COVID program in India?
Yes, ma'am.
Just give 2 and 2.
Ma'am, the biggest success is the amount of vaccination we have been able to do. The other is we have learned from the mistakes during the second wave, and we have controlled the spread of the virus during the third
Have we
wave.
controlled it, or is Omicron less virulent after Delta? Everything is downhill, or XE?
Yes, ma'am, that is the case as well, but we learned from the second wave and built the oxygen
And
generators.
failures?
Failures, ma'am, I think there have been multiple reports of the data not being correct by very promising and very respectful publications. So I think that is one thing that we must look into as a democratic country. And secondly, ma'am, during the second wave there was lack of federal cooperation in India
Federal
during
cooperation means?
I mean this cooperation between states.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Ashish,
Yes, sir.
can you tell me what is meant by deep fakes?
Yes, sir. Deep fakes are images where the use of deep learning is used to morph the image of actual people with the images of certain other people to build a negative image and harassment of people.
What kind of software is used in this? Any idea?
No, sir. Sorry, sir.
Okay. District magistrates.
Yes, sir.
So, the institution of district magistracy was set up when and by whom?
Sorry, sir. I'm not sure about this.
Okay. What is the full form of CVC?
Central Vigilance Commission.
When was this set up? Any idea?
2005.
2005.
I'm sorry, sir. This was a very bad guess. I'm so sorry.
There's no such thing as a bad guess. It's a guess.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
I'm sorry, sir.
And all guesses are bad,
Yes, sir.
especially from the interview standpoint.
Yes, sir.
So this was set up in 1964,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
And it was set up on the basis of which report, which committee?
Shanthanam Committee.
That's right.
Yes.
Have you heard of the term primitive tribal groups?
Yes, sir.
The word primitive has been now replaced.
Yes, sir.
What is it called now?
So they are called PBTGs now, and I'm not able to recall the full form, sir, at this point. Sorry.
Particularly vulnerable
Tribal groups, yes.
How many of such tribal groups in the country? Any idea?
Sir, I think it is 75, but I'm not going to take
Okay,
the guess.
just give me a brief idea. Just list 4 features
Yes, sir.
of particularly vulnerable tribal groups.
Yes, sir. They are economically backward. Very low level of technology they are using. They live in geographically isolated areas, and
That is true of all tribes, particularly vulnerable.
yes, sir. So the two are what I'm able to recall. Right?
Declining or stagnant
Yes,
population,
yes, sir. Thank you. Sir.
low literacy rate.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
My final question,
Yes, sir.
Sevottam model, what do you understand by this?
Sir, I am only vaguely aware of this. It is a concept used in public governance for improving the service delivery to citizens.
It has 3 characteristics, can you tell me?
Sorry,
No?
sir, I am not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ashish,
Yes.
please wait for a few minutes. We'll call you for feedback.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.